Welcome to another Kings of War 3rd Edition Battle Report. High Elves versus Free Dwarves. 2,000 points. The scenario was control. So Craig and I are getting ready to start another campaign, and this time I switched over to an army that I own, but I never play. I bought this army in my Warhammer days, and that was for people to borrow and to play with, and to kind of do op4 stuff with. So, like I said, I never play this army, but what I had to put together a Free Dwarfs list because he was doing Sylvankin, so I thought, well, two offbeat armies, let's try it out. So my Free Dwarfs have a horde of Free Dwarf Shield Breakers with the Blessing of the Gods and the Throwing Mastiff, a horde of Ironclads with the Hammer of Measured Force and the Throwing Mastiff, two Free Dwarf Rangers. One has the upgrade to Elite, a horde of Earth Elementals with Hans, two Mastiff Hunting Packs, one with the Throwing Mastiff, two Iron Belcher Cannons, a Stone Priest with Banechan, a Free Dwarf Packmaster, the Dwarf Lord on a large beast with the Blade of the Beast Slayer, and ASB with loot. So in my list I lost with the other day, I had a unit of handgunners, and the main reason I had them is because I have the figures. But they were so ineffective in that game that I just went ahead and dropped them. So what I replaced them with is I replaced them with an Iron Belcher Cannon, which is going to put about the same amount of output as far as wounds and stuff return, and I don't have to deal with the cover. So at least when I roll a 5 or 6, I at least hit on a 5 or 6. I use the other points to bump up the Dwarf Lord on Large Beast against the Sylvans. I need something to take out those Armor 5 and Armor 6 guys that it's in their list. And then lastly, I used the rest of my points. I combined some items and stuff, and I put Blessing of the Gods on the Free Dwarf Shield Breakers because that's my best melee unit as far as being able to break somebody, especially with the ASB with loot behind them. They can just flat dance on people. So here's my setup. What's really weird is Polly said, "Hey, we'll play a quick game." I didn't realize that he had 2 dragons, 2 units of Draken Riders, 3 units of heavy cavalry, and 2 units of light cavalry. So I was kind of stunned. I said, "Yeah, you're going to finish me off quick." And so I didn't care because I was just trying to hone this list to play in my campaign game. And so just wanted to do the best I could, to test out my list and see if it's any good. So on my turn 1, the left flank, really, I had the Dwarf Lord on Large Beast over there, along with the Elementals and the Stone Priest on that flank. In the middle, I just moved up the Rangers into the edge of the woods so that I could shoot at the stuff coming over the hill. I realized, yeah, he could probably charge me, but I figured that if he did that, he'd just, even a dragon's not going to take that kind of hit. Moved up as far as I can on the right with both hordes of infantry, and I knew the attack was going to come from my left, so I started moving the Mastiffs over there, at least to use their shooting attack before they died a horrible death. The 2 cannons, though, they both hit and did 5 wounds to his one of his dragons, and so that was really good. But because he was sticking his head over the top of the hill, and since they ignore cover, 5 wounds. I was already in a good shape in this game. I was way better than those stupid handgunners was in the last game. So I believe this is actually the start of my turn 3, even there's a 2 on there. Just wanted to show you what happened. Well, on the left flank, basically this whole army moved forward to threaten my left flank there. I'd taken 1 wound on the cannon from the horse archers, and he had side saddled on turn 2. Had side saddled his dragon to one side, and then his dragon, and then his Draken Riders, so that my cannons couldn't shoot him anymore. So I didn't like that at all. But anyway, with 24 shots, my Rangers actually wavered the dragon and put 5 wounds on it. I was amazed, and you can see I pulled my lines up even on the right hand side in case the dragon would have charged. And then honestly, a dragon in the front is really not a threat to a horde of dwarf infantry. I mean, as much as I was kind of scared of, I just knew that at some point in time I had to turn toward the middle, and I didn't want that thing in my flank. His Dracons went ahead and charged my Rangers in the woods. Only did 4 wounds, and that was going to be their end. There's really nothing that they are going to be able to do to handle that. So this is the end of, I think, Polly's turn 2, and we'll go to see what's happening in my turn 3. Okay, so in my turn 3, the shield breakers charged in the flank and killed his Dracons, and I went ahead and countercharged with the Rangers as well and moved them forward. I'm trying to get into that table quarter, but my guys are so freaking slow. That was going to be difficult. The other unit of Rangers, despite the since they were stationary in those woods, could shoot the dragon again and wounded it for 1 wound, which is okay, and then wavered it yet again. So that was excellent. You can see I moved my throwing mastiffs, one of the units out from behind the wall there, and that's to take one for the team, and also chunk some mastiffs at that unit of knights that is rapidly approaching. But knew I was in trouble here on this flank. I think I backed up the Dwarf Lord so the dragon couldn't get him, but I let the Dracones get him. So, I mean, you got to pick one of the others. So I figured that I would let the dragon hit the elementals, and then the birds hit the Dwarf Lord. I mean, I figured they could both take that hit from both of those units. So anyway, turn 3 is going well. I mean, just keep that dragon wavered up on the upper side. I was just amazed because that thing could have really caused some havoc. But I was able to keep him down. So basically, I have 1 dragon out of the game, even though he's not technically out of the game. He's not in a position to help anybody. So yeah, the knights did charge and destroy my unit of mastiffs. We all knew that was coming. So then the knights had charged in and destroyed my cannon there. And I think this is a little bit later in the turn. It's probably toward the start of my turn, or at the end of his turn. And then the knights backed away. Because of where the cannon was, the dragon kind of clipped the corner there of the earth elementals, and that wasn't going to be very good for them. And the same thing applies that the birds, when they charged into the Dwarf Lord, they're kind of clipped on the corner because there's just no way to fit. But both units kind of shrugged off the charge, and I was ready to go forward in my turn. In the upper part, all I could do is keep moving at 4 inches a turn because now I'm in all that terrain up there. So it wasn't that I was in the terrain in the middle there, but I didn't want to move my dwarf Rangers because I needed to keep that 1 dragon subdued. So I just kept him there and just took my chances with it, trying to keep him wavered and out of the game, which I think I did this turn. I think I wavered him yet again, and so he was really no impact on the game. So down on the bottom left there, the Dwarf Lord disengaged from the Draken Riders and charged the dragon in the front. At the same time, the elementals went ahead and charged him in the flank since he was already kicked over to one side, so to speak. And that allowed me to destroy the dragon and then reform to face the onslaught of cavalry coming toward me in the next turn. Between the Packmaster and my throwing mastiffs and the cannon, I managed to waver one of his units of knights, which was just such a relief because they were about to tear me open. Over in the middle there, I actually turned the Dwarf Rangers 1 unit toward the knights just in case somebody wanted to charge over there. On the right, I just kept muddling through. Like I said, I could not afford to move those Rangers and let that dragon get loose. Even though he was really hurt at this point, I probably could have, but I'm paranoid of dragons, so just wanted to keep him pushed down for the turn. But now I'm down. I got 1 dragon dead, and then the other dragon is wavered, and one of his knight units is wavered as well. So I'm holding off fairly well on my left flank over here, but I knew that's where all the action was going to be. So down here on his turn 4, he went ahead and charged into the earth elementals, had them up to 11 wounds, but they survived, so that was good. Not even that was a good thing. But I mean, the king was there, and the stone priest. Well, the stone priest got wavered by the birds, so that wasn't good for them. And his light cavalry went ahead and charged my Rangers in the woods and did 3 wounds. I think he's just trying to use them to weaken me up so that the next cavalry unit could come in and slaughter me. I think even in this turn I reminded him, I said, there is a scenario. And so I was kind of messing with him on that, but it turns out that I probably shouldn't have reminded him. So anyway, that's how this turn went. So I'm looking good down here. Like I say, my Stoneproof has wavered, but I've still got my defense going strong down here in the bottom, and the dragon has now 12 wounds on it and is wavered yet again. So in my desperate defense of the left flank, the dwarf lord on large beast is actually height 4, so he could see over the elementals, and so I was able to make a combo charge into the knight unit that was there and destroyed them. I mean, I'm looking in bad shape because I've got 11 wounds on the elementals and 5 on the lord, and so but up in the top, my rangers easily destroyed that unit of light cavalry. I mean, I was rolling dice, guys. I want to tell you this. I was rolling out my wazoo. There was no matter what I did, it seemed like it worked. At the top, I got the dragon up to 13, and because I used the throwing mastiffs on him from the unit that's up there, and I still didn't kill him. But even he's in not good shape, and so he's going to have to do something on his next turn, back away or do something. But I got one dragon down, the other one's on the ropes. Polly has 1 unit of cavalry left and his birds, and so if I had any speed at all, this wouldn't even be a game, but I don't. So this is my list, and this is what I'm going to play with, and I may have to actually think about getting some sort of cavalry, but I don't know. So in Paul's turn 5, he charged his cavalry into the dwarf lord and killed him, and then the dragons charged the earth elementals in the rear and destroyed them. I mean, they were up to 11 wounds. It didn't take much to do that, and those guys are a very, very effective unit. So I tried sneaking that unit of mastiffs up into the middle of the table up there, see if I could get across and get those points, because like I said, I have no speed in this army at all except for the dwarf lord, and now he's dead. So now I've got 3 little units trying to face down those dragons down there, and we'll just have to see what happens in turn 6, in Polly's turn 6, because right now I think Polly's got 2 points for the middle. I'm going to have 1 point for the right over there and 1 point on the left. So right now we're at a draw. So this is the last slide of the game. He did charge his cavalry into the back of my poor mastiffs. I mean, I was trying to be sneaky there. His dragons went ahead and charged my unit of rangers that was in the woods, and the reason why is because if he hadn't charged them, I would have moved that unit into the middle of the table and got the 2-point objective, or 2 points for control, by just moving them slightly forward, because they were right on the corner of where you need to be. So in the end, I had 1 point on the upper right hand corner. I had Polly had 2, and I had 1 point in the bottom corner down here because of my unit strength and such. So good game, draw. I didn't think I had any chance this game, but again, this time I think my dice rescued me. I can't stand to say that, but I had some really, really good dice rolls, and I had some really good morale tests. I mean, I was rolling, if I needed a 10, I got a 10. It was that good. I was really pumped about getting rid of both of those dragons, and that really helped me out during this game. Like I said, the dragons were such a threat. The cavalry charging straight into my dwarf infantry is probably not that much of a threat, but the dragons combined with the cavalry, so it was big for me to try to get rid of the dragons, and I accomplished that. Got a draw out of it. But like I said, if I'd had more speed, I would have done, I'm sure, a lot better. So might need to think about changing my list slightly again to get something in it that has more speed, even if it's another unit of mastiffs. Okay, here's my final thoughts, my after action report. First thing I'm going to say is, I love you, Paul, but 2 dragons? What the heck? So in this case, it didn't work out very well, the dragons, because I was able to neutralize both of them. But I had just put that stupid Brady the Beast Slayer in the list, and the reason why is because the Sylvankin list I play has so much armor 5 and 6, and I needed something to cut down those big big characters, especially the big tree men. So I'd thrown that Blade of the Beast Slayer in there because I mean I knew on the charge I'd be okay, but I didn't want it on the counter charge and stuff. Is where I was really worried about the ability of like a tree man to do damage. The cannon worked out way better than the stupid. I mean, I kind of wish I had just another infantry unit that I could have had in the game, just even if it was just some another unit of iron breakers or some not iron breakers, what are they called? Let me look here. Ironclad, just to hold the corner down, help me hold the corner down there. But I think the cannons and the shooting neutralized having the need to have another unit, because I mean once I dropped 5 on that one dragon on turn 1, I was pretty happy. Made him move the dragon not where he wanted him right off the bat. As far as my infantry, I should have split them up probably. I didn't need, but I mean I'm afraid if I'd have just stuck one horde there, he would have just piled because like I said, those units of dwarfs can take a charge from a unit of knights and then probably kill it, but they can't take a charge from a dragon and a unit of knights. So, I mean, they might be able to, but it's pretty dicey at that point. But it had that nice lake there, and that means that whenever somebody was going to charge me, it was going to be hindered, and that's why I went ahead and took that. But I could just as easily done it on the right or left-hand side now that I look at the table. Just inverted my deployment, been right in front of him. So, hard to say if my deployment was right or not. The Rangers just did a fantastic job this game. The Packmaster, another amazing model. I mean, he just clicks, fires off those 6 shooting attacks with piercing, hitting on 4s no matter what. He'd be perfect as a character sniper. ASB really didn't get in the game. The Mastiffs were amazing. They just did a great job. They helped waver that one unit, and then they just kept taking. They took 2 charges for the team, and dang near squeaked by on the last. I mean, I can understand why the Dwarf Mastiffs are so slow and why they're 65 points, because almost everybody else's speed is a little higher than that, and they're nimble. So I guess it's just the characteristic of the armies. I just need to shut up about it. Earth Elementals, what can you say? They're just so good. I mean, they're almost broken good. And the Dwarf Lord on Large Beast, same thing. He's so tough to take down with his leadership and everything else. And 7 swings. I mean, he's just as good as most flying Molosaurs can't fly, but I mean, he's cheaper because of that. So anyway, the list performed perfectly. I was stunned when Polly said he had 2 dragons. I was about to die, but I was able to separate the dragons from, so that I couldn't take combined charges from things, and I think that was what was my key to at least getting the draw out of this. I mean, I don't think there's any way I could have won unless he ignored one of those units of Rangers, and I could have marched him right into the other side of the table. But move 4, man, it's brutal. It is so hard to get used to that, and so I could see why that you need to take Brock Riders and stuff like that just to be able to speed up your army, at least to be able to take. I mean, Brock Rider Troop could have won the dang game for me, just hiding it the whole game, then moving it into a table quarter or to a table location up there. That would have just been the thing. So anyway, I might consider some changes to this. I just have this. I'm just not going to buy figures for an army like this that I don't use. So I'm not expanding it. I'm not going to make it better. I'm just going to take the models I have and make what I need out of them. And so right now, I have the models to do this army, even though I'm using my little Skaven Doom wheels as tunnel runners / Earth Elementals, which I think it works either way. So I'm going to keep using those for Earth Elementals, and the other stuff I have all dwarf models for. So, but unless somebody prints me some Earth Elementals, and I'll paint them up. But until then, they're going to be tunnel runners for a while. But anyway, hopefully I have another game this week with the Free Dwarfs, this improved list, and I guess my friend Craig and his Sylvan Kin, and hopefully we'll have another good game in our campaign series. Between the two, but I mean, it's kind of neat though, the Sylvan Kin and the Free Dwarfs, because they're kind of like forest dwarfs, and Sylvan Kin are forest dwellers, and I really thought about doing some forces of nature or beasts against his Sylvan Kin, but just decided since I have this dwarf army. I've had it for years. I might as well take it out of the box every once in a while and play with it. Maybe next time I'll get the beast or the forces of nature out because I have a ton. I mean, a ton of beastmen stuff. Most of it's not painted even, so that gives me the opportunity to get in there and redo and use that army. But I really think that this free dwarf list, like I said, it's not strong, but it's not horrible. It wouldn't be my choice for winning a tournament with it, but on the other hand, it was I've had two really fun games using this list. I had a slight loss last time, and I've had a draw this time. Am I beating anybody? No, but I have fun playing it, which is, I guess, the whole key to this thing. So until next time, to the next battle report, hopefully I'll snag some other people into these things, and we'll do them with real figures now that the pandemic is really lightening up in this area.